These are our last three. They're a bit of a doozy. Number 3 is not. This is no problem. Remember, we got to get the x's and the x squareds all by themselves. I got to get rid of this plus 12 right here. So to get rid of it, we would subtract 12 from both sides. When you do that, we will have x squared minus 6x on the left. And remember, we're going to leave a little bit of room, so we'll say plus something, and yeah, it's always plus something because when you square stuff, it becomes positive, equals 22 minus 12 is 10 plus whatever we put here, right? If we change one side, we have to change the other. Keep it balanced. So to find what we're going to add to both sides, remember we take that b, whatever's in front of the x, which is negative 6, we divide it by 2, and then we square it. Now negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. And when you square that, negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. So we're going to add 9 over here. We're going to add 9 over here. So the left side, x squared minus 6x plus 9 factors to x minus 3 squared. X minus 3 squared equals, over here we have 10 plus 9, 19. How do we undo that square now? We square root it. So both sides, we'll take the square root. Now 19 doesn't even have any perfect squares, so the way we're just going to write that is plus or minus the square root of 19. On the left side, the root and the exponent cancel each other out there, so it's just x minus 3 equals plus or minus the square root of 19. So one more step, we gotta get rid of that minus 3, so we add 3 to both sides. Remember, we put the radical at the end. So our final answer will say x equals 3 plus or minus the square root of 19. Can't simplify that anymore. And again, that gives you two solutions, 3 plus the square root of 19 and 3 minus the square root of 19. Take a gander at number 4. 2x squared minus 12x equals 14. This is a problem when we're completing the square. Having a term in front of the x squared, having an a. So we can get rid of that. We could just divide it, right? But if we divide one part of the equation by 2, we have to divide everything by 2, which is fine. We're changing everything by the same amount. We're cutting everything in half. So we have to divide this by 2, we have to divide this by 2. So rewritten then, 2x squared divided by 2 is just x squared, which is what we want. Negative 12x divided by 2 is negative 6x. We're going to leave some space, right, because we're going to complete that square. Over here, 14 divided by 2 is 7 plus whatever we used to complete the square. Okay, let me change colors here. We take our middle term, negative 6, divide it by 2, and then we'll square it. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3, just like on the last one. And then negative 3 squared is positive 9. Plus 9, plus 9. So the left side will again factor to x minus 3 squared. X minus 3 squared equals 7 plus 9 is 16. We undo the squarage by square rooting both sides. 16 is a perfect square. It's 4, but remember we have to say plus or minus 4, positive or negative 4. And then the left side, the radical and the square just cancel out, so it's just x minus 3 equals plus or minus 4. Now, how do we get rid of that minus 3? We add 3 to both sides. Plus 3, so we will have x equals 3 plus or minus 4. They're both just regular numbers, so we can simplify that still. So let's actually get the two answers. 3 plus 4 is 7, and 3 minus 4 is negative 1. If you substitute either of those into the original equation, they both work out. Last one, number 5. Take a peek at it. You'll see 3x squared. We cannot have that when we're completing our square. So let's just divide it out. But let's divide everything by 3. So 3x squared divided by 3 is just x squared. 6x, negative 6x divided by 3 is negative 2x. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. And 0 divided by 3 is 0. Fantastic. Hard part done. We got to isolate the x's. So the negative 4, it gots to go. So to get rid of it, we would just add 4. Which gives us x squared minus 2x. Leave a little bit of space. Plus blank equals positive 4 plus that same blank. How do we find the blank? Mr. Plan, how many times are you going to ask us? This is probably the last time. Take your b, which is negative 2, divide it by 2, and then square it. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1, and negative 1 squared is positive 1. Boop, plus 1, boop, plus 1. So we rewrite it. Remember, this will factor to x minus 1 squared. X minus 1 squared equals 4 plus 1 is 5 over here. Now, how are we going to undo that squareage? We're going to square root it. You know what I'm saying? Square root over here. Square root over here. We got x minus 1 on this side. 5 doesn't even have any perfect squares, so we'll just write plus or minus the square root of 5. And then we just got to get rid of that minus 1. So we're going to add 1 to both sides. Plus 1, plus 1. X equals 1 plus or minus the square root of 5. Can't simplify that anymore. That was fun. I'm almost sad to stop this video.